There is so much to cover going into week 10 for fantasy hockey. We've got a ton of young players emerging on their respective rosters and taking over top 6 positions, as well as an old favorite coming back to the National Hockey League on a new team. We've got a lot to go over, so let's get right into the video, guys. Here are 7 players you absolutely must add for week 10 of fantasy hockey. Starting us off is Patrick Kane of the Detroit Red Wings. Yes, Showtime is back in the National Hockey League. 76% owned right now. He's playing line 2 and power play 1 for the Wings. 16:33 time on ice for his first game back. I'm anticipating this is going to go up. I think they're just easing him back into the NHL schedule. There's still a little bit of uncertainty when it comes to the injury with Kane. He does look fine right now, but who knows how this is going to impact his play going forward as a player, especially the fact that he is a little bit now older in his age. There's still a little bit of uncertainty in how this will affect his performance as a player. But if you look back to last season, 73 games played, 16 goals, 29 assists, 22 power play points, and 227 shots. This is elite level production that you're going to get out of Kane with a very, very good shot volume as well. He's still one of the best playmakers in the National Hockey League outside of his surgery. And I think, going forward, he should be an add in 10 plus team leagues. I think he's worth picking up for just the sheer potential that you're going to get out of this guy if he's available. I know he's 76% owned right now, but if he's available, definitely make sure that you grab this guy in your league. He should be a lights out to start, and we'll see what happens with this injury going forward. Who knows how this is going to impact him, but I think if we're looking historically, Kane is still an elite player in the National Hockey League and will perform. Moving on to another Detroit Red Wing, we have Lucas Raymond, 59% owned. He's got 11 points in his last 10 games. He's been lights out as of late. Line 1 and power play 1. I'm personally not worried about the Patrick Kane deployment and how that's going to affect Raymond. He's still going to be playing with Dylan Larkin. I think we're going to see a very similar mix to what the Leafs do, where they just split up their top 4 guys and have 2 on each of their top 6 lines. 18:35 average time on ice over the last 5 games played. His shots per 60 are also up this year from 6.2 to 7.7. So that's a really good sign for Raymond owners. I think we're going to see similar production to what we saw in his rookie year along with his peripherals. I think going forward, Raymond could even eclipse that, just given the fact that there's a ton of talent now on Detroit. You add Patrick Kane to the mix, and that should realistically make your power play a lot better also. And then again, he's going to be playing with Larkin. I'm not worried about the fact that they took him off the line that DeBrincat was on. Raymond is a talented enough player to be successful and drive play on his own. If he's available in your league, I highly recommend you pick him up going forward. Another emerging player is Quinton Byfield. He was on a previous must-add video, and I wanted to include him in this week because we've now just seen an outright great sample from Byfield. 9 points in his last 10. He is a mainstay on line 1 and power play 2. His average time on ice isn't great over the past 5 games at just shy of 16 minutes, but he does have 18 shots on goal in his last 5 games played. We're seeing Byfield just really emerge as a young, talented player, and what we expected from him a lot earlier on in his career. Sometimes it just takes a little bit for players to develop, as we've seen, but this looks like the breakout season. At 44% owned, just given the fact that he's getting great exposure on line 1 along with power play time also, and the fact that we're now recently seeing some increase in shot volume, I think this is the best time to add Byfield. You know what he is at this point, and LA is going to continue to play him where he's at going forward. He is an absolute must add in 12 plus team leagues. If you need some production on your team, Casey Mittelstad is a great add. Only 26% owned. Mittelstad has 9 points in his last 10 games and is averaging over 21 minutes time on ice in those 10 game span. Mittelstad had 60 points last year, and I think we could see him eclipse that and go towards the 70 point mark. He's a fantastic playmaker if you watch him play. I think with the exposure to Tage Thompson, this should help his numbers also. He doesn't have a great shot volume or any type of peripherals that really stand out in terms of hits or blocks, but he is continuously getting points. So I think he's an add in 12 plus team leagues if you need some extra scoring and a center. Mike mentioned Jake Neighbours last week, and we're just continuing to see the same thing. So I wanted to include him in this video also. I think his ownership should be much higher than 21%. He's got 9 points in his last 10 games, 8 goals included, line 1 and power play 1. He's seems to be a mainstay right now for the Blues on that role. 18:32 average time on ice in his last 5 games played. This just further proves my point that Neighbours looks like he's staying on that top line. His shooting percentage is inflated right now, yes, but he is getting great exposure to elite playmakers like Pavel Buchnevich. And then on the top power play unit, you have Jordan Kyrou also there. I think he's got solid shot volume and hit and block volume also. His hit volume is actually quite good. There's games where he has over 4, maybe even 5 hits sometimes, and he does chip in the block category as well. So I think he's just a great overall add for you guys right now. I think he's a possible add in 12 plus team leagues and an absolute must add in the deeper leagues 14 plus. So I think going forward, Neighbours is a great add, especially for those of you that are in deeper leagues. You get a ton of exposure to top line minutes, power play 1 exposure on top of that. He is over 18 minutes average time on ice, and like I said, in those past 5 games. So I think Neighbours just overall is an absolute must add. Definitely make sure you pick this guy up. Speaking of great deep league ads, we have Mikael Granlund of the San Jose Sharks. He's caught 13 points in his last 10 games and has had multiple multi-point games over his last 5. I don't even think he's considered line 2. I put line 2 here because he wasn't skating with Tomas Hertl. He's skating with Fabian Zetterlund and Anthony Duclair right now. So I'm assuming that's the second line, but he's averaging over 21 minutes time on ice in his last 10 games. He's got good hit and block volume on top of that. He will chip in those 2 categories. He had 36 points in 58 games last year with Nashville. So we could just see the fact that if given more ice time and more opportunity, Granlund could be a very, very good scorer for the Sharks going forward, who have seemed to have found some type of scoring touch as of late. I think he's a possible add in 12 plus team leagues. I expect his ownership is going to go up a lot based off of his recent success, and I think he's an absolute gem in 14 plus team leagues. You want to roster this guy on your team if you're in a deeper league, and he's available at only 14% owned. I highly recommend you grab this guy. Finishing up our list, we have Martin Jones of the Toronto Maple Leafs, only 9% owned. This probably has gone up since the recording of this video. Joseph Woll went down with what looked like a significant injury last night when the Leafs were playing the Senators. And to be completely honest, Samsonov has not been good for the Leafs. I think going forward, we could see a lot more volume than we currently expect out of Martin Jones. It's very possible that Samsonov could continue his bad play and Jones is just forced into what looks like a 50-50 split or possibly even a starter role depending on how bad Samsonov is. The Leafs are 7-1-2 in their last 10, and I think it really just depends on your goaltending situation with Jones. Again, I'm not sure how much volume he's going to see, but it is possible that he does see more than we anticipate. And I think for Jones, it would be great if he got a couple games in early. He hasn't really played at all on the Leafs as of late. He's been in the AHL. I think he's a possible add-in 12-team leagues depending on your goaltending situation, and an add-in 14-team leagues where you get some good depth of goaltending. He's going to get wins. He's going to get shots against. He may not have the best numbers as a goaltender in terms of save percentage and goals against, but I think if you're playing on a good team and you're getting some volume going forward, I think he will be worth an add going into week 10, especially if Woll is out long term. So if you're in a deeper league and you need some goaltending help, Martin Jones is not the worst add for you guys. That is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I apologize for my brief hiatus. I came down with this seasonal flu, but I'm feeling much better now. So back to our regular scheduled program going forward. If you guys have anybody that you think is an absolute must add, be sure to include it in the comments down below. I love seeing your guys' opinions and takes on players. You guys have had some really good recommendations in the past. I've seen in the comments also. So be sure to let me know in the comments down below if there's anybody that you think should be an absolute must add going into week 10. And that will do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Have yourselves a fantastic rest of the day.